Tom, what is the process of Nobel Prize? If he's able to do that, who nominates? Because most of the Nobel winners are on the left.
Nobel Prizes, you can go look this up, are given through an arcane nomination process, and they go into a back room and they decide who they're going to give it to. And the Nobel Peace Prize is basically a political football. You look around the world at people that have really caused peace, and you have Obama made a couple speeches as soon as he was inaugurated in 2009. Oh my goodness, we give it to for fostering an environment of peace. He didn't do anything.
What if I told you that Patrick Bet David just turned Barack Obama into his personal punching bag, not with fists, but with words so sharp they could slice through bulletproof glass? This isn't politics as usual. This is a full-blown roast session disguised as hard-hitting commentary, and it's got everyone clutching their pearls. How did a businessman step into the ring and leave a two-term president wobbling? Stick around, because this meltdown is way too wild to miss.
Okay. So you hear these stories, and it's becoming more and more and more. I guess here's the question. If they got a divorce, what's the big deal?
Nothing.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing.
So if they got a divorce and it didn't work out, Michelle's doing a podcast. I saw the numbers yesterday. Their episodes keep getting fewer and fewer views, according to
You want me to tell you the numbers,
If
Matt?
you have it, yeah,
So
sure.
the new podcast continues to tank. The viewership is down over 75% compared to her first episode. Her viewership has been dropping since her show on March 12th. So it went from episode 1, 335,000. Episode 2, 194,000. Episode 3, it jumped back up. Episode 5, 141. Episode 6, 63,000 views.
Can you just go to the channel, Rob? Let's see how it's doing.
So people are just not feeling it.
It's ranked 34 on Spotify.
And you know why he's looking it up? It's not fair. Like, if you're in an unhappy relationship, I feel like when it comes to politics and these politicians, you have to stay together because of your public image. And it's like, bro, you're unhappy.
Patrick Bet David built his empire by shredding business myths and forcing people to rethink everything they thought they knew about money, power, and leadership. But this time, he turned his sharp analytic blade towards someone most people consider untouchable, Barack Obama. The result? Picture a heavyweight boxer stepping into the ring against a master illusionist, pulling back the curtain and revealing that it was all smoke and mirrors.
So when I look at Obama, he had an opportunity, but he wasn't raised with a black American. So he don't connect with us. He don't relate to us because he's not a black American. He come from an African man who had a baby with a white woman overseas and raised by his white racist granddaddy and his loving white grandmama. He grew up at school dating white women. Like, who you date, your mama? Michelle was a political move for him.
You think so?
He would never got elected had he had a white woman. That's why Kamala couldn't get elected. Ain't nobody vote for no black woman with no white man coming from our culture.
Obama's carefully polished image didn't just take a scratch. It took a full-on wrecking ball hit. For over a decade, he carried the aura of politics' golden boy, the one who could do no wrong. The smooth speeches, the charismatic smile, the movie star presence, it all played like the origin story of a Marvel superhero. But Patrick's takedown reminded everyone that even superheroes have weaknesses.
Barack
Like
Obama
Sade.
sitting like that. Where is his junk? It has to be mushed and
That's
mashed.
what you
It's not
interrupted.
even
That's what you interrupted Tom for? He's talking about his marriage?
Tom was saying something
Unbelievable.
about the challenge of marriage. But listen, you know who else is like that? Gavin Newsom.
Oh, hardcore.
They sit like that. That takes
hurts.
art. That's
hurts.
Yeah. But anyways, going
Let's be
back to
grown-ups
it,
here,
what
guys.
were some of the things
Another
that
guy
he
with
said?
no junk.
What did they say? What are some of the things? Obama, not that one. If you go to the Sean Ryan picture, the Sean Ryan Newsom picture,
It's so condensed.
that's the one you want to look at.
Every failure was repackaged as a noble effort. Every scandal swept under a rug woven from hope and change. Obama became the prom king who never gave up the crown, strolling through reunions like the legend who still fit into the tux. But then came Patrick Bet David, a businessman who doesn't care about crowns, nostalgia, or polished speeches. He cares about receipts, numbers, facts, and he's not afraid to laugh while dumping ice water all over the fantasy.
So there are three things hiding in plain sight here. The first that's hiding in plain sight was that Obama was nowhere in sight. He didn't come to a podium. He didn't do one of those impromptu interviews. The media that follows him around where he goes for his foundation or things he does didn't come up behind him. He didn't go on the podcast with his wife where he was talking about young men and things and needing gay friends a week ago to come back and says, I don't need any of this crap. No, nothing. Obama was silent.
That's what made this takedown sting more than usual. Politicians get criticized daily, and most of it fades into background noise. But when someone like Patrick comes in with business logic sharper than a guillotine, people pay attention. He wasn't slinging partisan mud. He was pulling up the scorecard and saying, look at the stats, not the slogans. And once you see the numbers, you can't unsee them. Obama, sold as the savior of the middle class, looked different under Patrick's lens. Yes, stock markets soared, banks got bailed out, and unemployment dipped. But middle-class wages stagnated, living costs soared, and average households ran harder just to stay in place. The rich thrived, Wall Street boomed, and regular Americans were left juggling bills, cutting coupons, and hoping their car wouldn't break down. Obama became the paradox, a leader loved for saving the people, while the people themselves kept struggling.
You got Trump, you got Obama. What do you think about Obama? How much did Obama do for the black community?
Nothing.
You don't think he did a lot of good for the black community?
He didn't do nothing.
He didn't change your life positively, like.
He changed.
But he's black.
He spent 8 years. He spent 8 years giving the homosexual community all of our civil rights. We still need a little bit more. So Dr. King and them fight wasn't for integration. It wasn't really to take the Jim Crow signs down. The initial fight, and it lasted for a while. The initial fight was equal rights and equal protection under the law.
Patrick framed it with brutal simplicity. If a CEO bragged about success while his employees couldn't afford lunch, would you cheer for him? That's how he flipped the script. He dragged Obama's glossy economic record into a profit and loss statement, and suddenly, the numbers weren't so flattering. It was like discovering your favorite fine dining restaurant was reheating leftovers at 5-star prices. Then, Patrick pivoted to foreign policy. Remember Obama's Nobel Peace Prize glow-up? The global peace icon? Patrick tore that halo apart with cold facts. Drone strikes skyrocketed. Middle Eastern conflicts raged on. America's reputation abroad looked battered, not rebuilt. For a president who promised fewer wars, Obama sure kept the headlines filled with civilian casualties. Patrick didn't need sarcasm. The irony spoke for itself.
So Obama could not relate to the black American struggle coming from the N-I-G-G-E-R slave. He's not a seed of a slave. So why would he cry with us? He wouldn't cry with his people, homosexuals.
Those are his people.
Them his people.
Man,
them his people.
Stop.
You saw what man, listen.
You think?
Yeah, he gave them the world. Yeah, them his people. How you recognize your kind? By their actions. Homosexual got action.
And then came healthcare, Obama's crown jewel, the Affordable Care Act. In theory, it sounded noble, healthcare for all, affordability for everyone. But in practice, premiums skyrocketed, small businesses drowned in paperwork, and affordable started meaning slightly less bankrupting than before. Patrick dismantled the gap between the promise and the reality. The average worker wasn't bragging about their new plan. They were complaining about bills that felt like bad jokes. Obama excelled at storytelling, inspiring people while they struggled, but Patrick countered with cold math that didn't lie. The fallout was explosive. Loyalists defended Obama like he was the final boss of politics. Skeptics accused him of selling dreams, and social media turned into a battlefield of nostalgia versus numbers.
They openly talk about the divorce, okay? That people think we're getting a divorce, and they're joking about it. And Obama said a few things. One of the things he talked about was about young men and daughters, and I don't know if this is the one or not.
I have it.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Where they talk about progressives, Democrats, and young men?
Yeah. He was talking about, it was actually it was going in the right direction of a point, and then he talks about every man needs a gay friend. I'm like, oh, you were making a very good point. And then
Patrick's takedown worked because it stripped Obama of his strongest armor, charm. For years, criticism of Obama came packaged with political venom, making it easy to dismiss. But Patrick wasn't a rival politician or a bitter pundit. He was a businessman, a numbers guy, someone who talks KPIs and ROI, not partisan talking points. Through that lens, Obama's untouchable legacy suddenly looked like a well-marketed product. Numbers don't lie, and once Patrick laid them bare, people couldn't watch the old Obama narrative the same way again. It wasn't about destroying the man. It was about dismantling the illusion of untouchability.
Obama's second term, he did none. Obama's first term, I think he did one. And Bush's first and second term, he did none on day one. This guy's come out the gates. One moment he's talking to World Economic Forum. Another second you're looking at him, he's talking to California, chewing out, Bass and Mayor Bass and talking to the folks there. Next minute, he's in Vegas talking about no tax on tips. Next minute, you're seeing him talking to military folks. Next minute, you're seeing him on the media.
And the ripple effects? Massive. If someone could openly shred Obama's record without the usual political baggage, then no one's safe. The era of untouchable political figures might be ending. Once one domino falls, the rest start wobbling. Patrick's critique wasn't just about Obama. It was about the way politics conditions people to worship personalities instead of results. Strip away the charisma, Netflix deals, and photo ops, and the question becomes simple. Did life actually get better under your leadership? If the answer is no, charm alone can't save the grade.
I wouldn't look at Obama one way or another. I would simply say, I get it. It's tough. Good, God bless. And don't forget, they were young presidents. They weren't old presidents. Yes. So it's a difference when you're a young president. When you're a young president getting out and you're a star power, like Netflix showing everywhere he goes and da-da-da-da-da, it's a different kind of a life.
This was the ultimate unmasking. Obama went from superhero to human in the span of a few bullet points. And once you see the cape is just a costume, it's hard to clap the same way again. Nostalgia will keep some fans defending him forever, but Patrick shifted the conversation. The glow isn't untouchable anymore. Maybe Obama wasn't a political savior, but a skilled marketer selling a dream. And maybe Patrick just sold the world a new product, reality. By exposing the receipts, Patrick didn't just take down Obama. He exposed the entire playbook politicians use to distract the public while hoping nobody checks the fine print.
There hasn't been one moment in our marriage when I thought about quitting. Bull. Every man and woman who has ever been married, you think about quitting. There's a moment
that what she
you
said?
think things will happen. Yeah, that's such BS. We all have that.
She even said it. She said she hated him. She said she hated him for 10 years.
Are you admitting on camera that you thought about quitting Kim?
Rob, can you rewind, Rob?
Babe?
Look at how his
Vinny,
legs are crossed. Go back to Barack's legs crossed.
Do humans in relationships have big fights and you say for a split second, is this all worth it?
Because for all his charisma, Obama's presidency was full of contradictions that Patrick lined up like bowling pins and knocked down effortlessly. Obama campaigned as the outsider rebel, ready to fight Wall Street, then cozied up with the same bankers he promised to rein in. It was like watching Robin Hood join the sheriff of Nottingham's country club. Patrick didn't need to rant or shout. He calmly applied CEO logic. Imagine this man was running your company. Would you still cheer? And suddenly the applause got quieter. Coolness doesn't matter much when the results don't deliver.
A new movie comes out. What's the name of that movie? Civil War. Leave the world behind. Our power grid in America hasn't been updated. 75% of it hasn't been updated in 50 years. And you're kind of talking about that. Then you're pitting whites against blacks. There's a line in the movie that says, Dad, you know if something goes down, we can't trust these white people. I know that's something both you and Mom agree on. Why do you put that line in the movie, Barack? And you were helping with the script. Why would you put that in the movie? Why would you put that in the movie? Barack, weren't you the same guy that gave a talk at the DNC in 2004 about bringing people together? What happened to that guy?
Obama gave America smooth speeches and stand-up worthy charisma. But Patrick reminded everyone that charm doesn't pay the bills. For over a decade, politicians borrowed pieces of Obama's style, trying to replicate his magic. But Patrick asked the question no one wanted to face. What if the style was always more memorable than the substance? That's why this wasn't just a roast, it was a reality check. Patrick wasn't tearing down a man. He was dismantling the dangerous belief that charisma equals competence. In an era addicted to sound bites and slogans, that's about as radical as it gets.